You're listening to Hotepish with your host, DwannBrown. Intelligent ish talk, intelligent shit talk, where we balance the profound with the profane. Political satire, celebrity and expert guests, information and entertainment, conversation and solutions. Leave your feelings at the door.
We are here live. Hotep-ish. Intelligent-ish talk. Intelligent shit talk. Oh yeah, we don't ever forget to talk that shit. The home of the profound and the profane. All of it's good. All of it's good. What's up, y'all? What's up, Goldie? What's up, Joshua? T-Boss in the house. Corbett Goodwin, what's up? What up, New Ways? Brian Maley, what up, y'all? Thank y'all. Welcome. I want y'all to check out my episode of Incense and Ashtrays I had this past Wednesday with Jarris Mosey. I appreciate y'all for checking in on the news. I love it. Check in on the music, too. Incense and Ashtrays. We got a lot of legendary artists that I have scheduled for that show coming up in a couple weeks. I'm going to interview Mortonette Steve Jenkins, was what she went by when she was singing. But yeah, she sang behind everyone from Elton John to Stevie Wonder to Michael Jackson. I know there's been a whole lot of debate about what was said on "Wanna Be Starting Something" with Michael Jackson. People are saying, what they saying? Mama say, Mama sa, Mama tu sta. Like, that's been like a little recent debate that's come back up online I've seen. Well, I got the woman who sang that background in the studio with Michael Jackson. She was actually the one singing Mama say, Mama sa, Mama tu sta. She's coming in the studio. We're going to talk about the life of a background singer and her life in the music industry. So y'all want to check that out. Also check out my interview with Bobby Rush that I put up last week. legendary blues guitarist. Because a major part of what I do is the music, because I often find that some of the best ways to teach history and to really understand history is through music. Because when you go back and watch a lot of those documentaries from back in the day, they'll kind of, on the historical documentaries, they'll actually tell less truth about what was going on, the science of the time, than they will on music documentaries. Like a lot of history that I know, I got out of watching music documentaries. Like when you study jazz in the 1920s, they'll tell you a lot about what was going on with Black America during the 1920s. Because when you just watch a history documentary, they're going to tell you about the Roaring 20s, and they're going to tell you about, the prohibition and blah, blah, blah. But when you watch the music documentaries, you get to see the unique hell that Black people were going through. Because any sort of music documentary always starts and ends with us, because we invented literally every form of music. So tying the music into the history is very important to me. And also, music always gives you a pulse on the times that you're in. People understood the early 70s when they heard what's going on. People, you can hear the pain of the 40s and 50s when you listen to, Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf. You can hear the hope in the 80s with the music. So the music is always a key component. And plus, at the end of the day, there is no story without a soundtrack. So we as a people got to get into our music history and understand that more, because in that lies other nuggets of truth of things that we've created and invented in this nation. Someone said, we ain't church folks, but I'd like to see interview gospel artists. John P. Keys. I don't mind interviewing gospel artists. They just got to be interesting. I personally don't like gospel music. Gospel music to me sucks. Like, for real. And I played the drums in church for like 17 years. Probably more. That's including the time including the time that I took off. I stopped playing consistently 2011. At that point, I had been playing the drums for like 16 years in church. And I was playing that at church last year. Like, to me, gospel music just is not, like, gospel. I thank gospel music because it did hold our traditions over, through slavery. It allowed us to come out and rebirth the blues and things like that. But gospel music to me just sucks. I'm sorry. It just does. Like, even when I play the drums in church, this was at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Yep. This time 10 years ago or 20 years ago, at this exact time, I was on the drums in church playing praise and worship, thinking, God damn, this song sucks. And this one I used to like love church too. Shit. Y'all, how many, why is every song talking about the Lord whooping our ass and like, forgive me, Jesus, don't beat my ass because I fucked up? That's basically every gospel song. Man, Lord, I fucked up. Lord, I didn't do right. Jesus, don't kick my ass. I'm just a sinner. I can't stand gospel music. But musically, I'll say I like to listen to it because it has all of the elements that music needs to have. Like gospel music, sometimes I'll go before the coronavirus. Me and my wife, we'll go to Noel Jones's church over here just because that choir was so dope. Like, the lyrics of the music suck, but when you get to hear that massive choir and 100 niggas singing and a dope ass band, it does something to your insides. It does great. It feels good. But when you listen to the lyrics, oh Lord, them lyrics. Frankie Beverly and Maze is more gospel than 99.9% of gospel music. Let's just tell the truth. Earth, Wind, and Fire is more gospel than 99.99999% of gospel music. I'll dare to say 100% more gospel than all of gospel music. I like that old. Like I do like when they would have like them massive choirs, man. If it, like it's a good like if I can get that same sound back in R&B, we'd be good. The only gospel artist I like is Noe Burns. Check him out. He's a rapper. Noe got some dope ass gospel rap. Like when Noe told me he was a gospel rapper, my first thought was this nigga here about to come with that holy high shit. I don't want to hear this bullshit. Then he played some of his music. Noe got this one song called "Take Me to the Water." Man, that shit dope. Check out Noe Burns, gospel rapper. He's dope. Yeah, you're right. Now about gospel music has great energy, and we'll get into the. Y'all know me. We got to start talking a little shit before we get into the main story, and I'm gonna jump around. But this is Sunday morning service with DwannB. I like to come to y'all Sunday mornings. Something spiritual about this time. You dig? Now, yeah, gospel music it has a good feeling to it. It does. And being someone who stayed in the church for so long, therein lies the problem. Because one thing about music dances right past your conscious mind directly to your subconscious mind, whether you accept what's said or not. Let's get into how the brain works here. And as a matter of fact, I'm gonna tie this into the main story, because at the end of the day, there's only one story. And that's the story of life. That's the story of us. That's the story of you. All shit ties in together. I thank y'all for listening and joining in. But let's go into it psychologically. Music dances right past your conscious mind directly to your subconscious mind. You dig? That's why you ever be sitting in a line somewhere at the store or whatever, and you just think of the words and the rhythm to a song that you haven't heard like in 20 years? To take it even further, how many times has that happened to you and it was a song you didn't even like? Like, I swear to God, the other day, I just woke up and started saying, "Tag team, back again." I'm like, what the I hated Whoop There It Is when it came out. But for some ungodly reason, Whoop There It Is came to my mind. And I'm like, what the fuck? Why am I thinking about Whoop There It Is? And Whoop There It Is stayed in my head for like goddamn 2 weeks. I'm walking through the store and out of nowhere I'm going shaka laka shaka laka shaka whoo. What the fuck, man? Music goes directly to your subconscious. And your subconscious is 90% of your brain activity. They like to tell you that only 10% of the brain is active. That's how they'll frame it in school. In school, they'll tell you, well, only 10% of your brain is active. No. Only less than 10% of your brain is doing your conscious movements. You're thinking, what do you decide to eat? Which hand do you use? Your conscious brain. That right there is less than 10%. But the other 90% is subconscious activity. And the subconscious is always on. The subconscious is always on. Let me say that again. The subconscious is always on. From the time you're conceived, when you got that little umbilical cord attached to your mama, your subconscious is hearing everything going on the outside. It's feeling your mother's energy. It's feeling all that. It's feeling all that. So this is how your brain works. That's why environment is so important to a child and to a person. Think about it. We share over 90% DNA with everything, or with plants and trees and shit. If a plant only grows right in its proper environment, what do you think happens to a human? Human environments are very important because why? Because the subconscious is always working. And the reason why I have this movie Inside Out here from Disney on the screen is this movie is a great illustration on how the brain works. Watch Inside Out on if you have Disney Plus. Watch that movie, watch that movie, watch that movie. It talks to you about emotions, and it talks to you basically about how the brain is structured. It's the greatest illustration I've ever seen about on how emotions work with the brain. You know, watch it one time for entertainment, but watch it again and again to really study the brain, because they're giving you really dope science on this movie. They're dropping science, like for real, unargued, unchallenged science, because it's just fact. Well, anyway, going back to the church. With the church and its music, it has the movement, it has the feeling, it has the sound. You have the choir, you have the band, you have, the chords are in major chords making you feel good. But what are they saying? They saying words like, I'm going up the rough side of the mountain. Why would you have a song singing going up the rough side of the mountain when the Bible said the Lord gave you strength to move mountains? That's how I know people ain't even reading their fucking Bible. You dig? Yeah, I'm cussing while I'm talking about the Bible because, hey, it is what it is. Like, if you read your Bible, why are you going up the rough side of the mountain? Move the motherfucker. Ain't that what the Bible say you can do? You got a song. I remember when it was this one song. That song by Kurt Franklin. Silver and gold, silver and gold. I'd rather have Jesus than silver and gold. And you wondering why all of Africa got Jesus and all the white people own the silver and gold. It's just in the music. Dope ass feeling. That song Silver and Gold by Kurt Franklin. Man, that choir is so on point. It feels good. Silver and gold. Silver and gold. I'd rather have Jesus. Then the choir goes from they go into unison. Then silver and gold. No fame or fortune, no riches untold. I'd rather have Jesus. Do you ever think about what that does to the mind? I'd rather have a fictional person that, or if you believe he lived, if you didn't, whether or not, either way it goes, he's not here now. Physically. Yet you do need money to pay your light bill. You have people with their light bill not getting paid singing they'd rather have Jesus than silver and gold. Excuse the noise if y'all hear. Do y'all hear any noise? Because I have my mic, so it shouldn't be picking up outside noise. Do y'all hear noise? I got this weave wearing neighbor that's just she hears I'm on the radio, so turned her goddamn music up. Can't stand this chick. Anyway, y'all got that neighbor that be all up in your shit, loud as hell, but then the minute they see you doing something constructive, they want to turn their shit up. So let me know if y'all hear any noise in the background. I'll adjust the mic. Okay, thanks, T-Boss. I'm good. All right, thanks. I'm glad I got the right mic. I got one of the mics that said they ain't gonna pick up that sound outside of my voice, so that's good. That's good. Well, anyway, think about there's this other song that we used to sing. I'm drawing a blank. Oh, I'm drawing a blank. It's this other song that's on the tip of my tongue I wanted to use as an illustration to this example to point out why oftentimes people in the church have a subservient mindset. So yeah, there's one song they sing in my church called "I Need You to Survive." Basically, I need Jesus to survive. And my thing was, okay, it's great. You know, when I used to be in church, stuff like that used to bother me because it was like, well, didn't in the Bible Jesus say he left us? We could do all the shit that he did. So why are we sitting around still? Like, think about this. As a Laker fan, I don't go around and keep celebrating the championship they won 20 years ago in 2000 and acting as if I'm supposed to be surprised and singing about a song that was a championship that Shaq and Kobe won. Imagine going somewhere every Sunday and writing songs about Kobe's lob to Shaq to beat Portland so Lakers can go ahead and win a championship. After a while, it's like, all right, okay, so at what point do we leave from here and grow and expand and go? At what point do you take that knowledge and like do something else with it? Take it to the next level. Hell, even college, when you can become a goddamn, even a doctorate degree got an end term and a limit. So I'm saying all that to say, the music that we listen to, often it goes directly to your subconscious, and whether you're conscious of what it's saying or not, your subconscious is getting the message. Your subconscious always gets the message. Let me say that one more time. Your subconscious always gets the message. So you got to check what you're listening to and watch that movie Inside Out. It does a really, really good job of, talking about how the subconscious works and how the emotions attach to the brain, how they work together. Because there's a whole science behind how your mind works. And that's why it's so easy for TV and media to program the minds of the people. It's very easy for them to program the minds of the people because if they understand how the mind works and you don't, guess who wins? But good thing about it is they can only program you if you're not conscious of the programming. If you're conscious of how they try to program you, then it has less effect on you. You can then read it for what it is. And you'll see it as clear as the movie. You'll be able to pick up the messages right away when you understand how your brain works. That's why I always hear the Hotepish Intelligent Ish Talk. I always encourage further information, further reading, further knowledge. I point you in the right direction, but I encourage you to look deeper if the topic interests you. Because what will happen is your mind will expand. Your mind will grow. And as your mind grows, that's better for you. It's just better for you as a person to grow your mind. Oh, one more thing of housekeeping. I have the Eventbrite. I'm going to put the link in the chat in the chat room before we're done. I got the Eventbrite. I have my webinar coming up Sunday, May 2nd. Sunday, May 2nd. I'm doing a live webinar on my book, No Time to Waste. If you sign up, it's limited capacity. It's not a lot because I want to make sure that I can answer people's questions and talk to people. So if you sign up for the webinar, the book comes free. If you sign up for the webinar, the book comes free. I'm also going to have course materials, and I'm also going to have questionnaires, and we're also going to have a follow-up group. No Time to Waste is my self-motivation guidebook. My steps on how to get yourself to get off your rusty ass and get off to do what you want to do. So that link is going to be in the description box. Limited availability. It's only $29.99, and that includes your book. If you don't want to be in the class, the book will be up for sale in a couple weeks as a standalone. But if you sign up for the webinar, it's going to really help you get through the book and get everything you can out of the book. Because the whole point of this is for you. $30 isn't much to spend when you think about finally doing the things that have been in your head to do, that you've been anxious about doing, scared of doing, wanting to do, but not doing. All those mental tricks that keep you away from your being who the fuck you really want to be. This book is my guidebook on how I broke through a lot of that shit. That's actually why I named my company Breakthrough Advocacy Services. Because breakthrough it signifies the mental breakthrough I had to go through to then fulfill the life that I had in my head and make it material on this planet. So $29.99 is not much if it's gonna get you to open up and fire your job, or if you're gonna stay on the job, at least get a better one, because you're gonna do what the fuck you want to be doing. You dig? So we're about to get into this right here. These folks talking about what is morally white? CNN did a broadcast the other day, and I saw this. I don't watch much CNN, but I happened to see this. I probably watched for about 3 minutes. I should have watched a lot longer just because I wasn't even thinking about doing a show on this. But I just kind of was just scanning through the news and I saw this and I took a screenshot of it. Then I kept on and started doing something else because they was just pissing me off. But CNN out of nowhere just came up with some bullshit talking about that shooter in Boulder, Colorado. They said he was factually Arabic, but morally white. No, the book is not an audio book. It's an e-reader. It's only 23 pages. It ain't long. So no, the book is not an audio book. It is a reader. You will have to read it, but it's very short and it's actionable. Every line, every word in the book is something that you take and use. So don't read the book. It's something that my book that's coming out. It's not something that you read, sit down, and say, hey, that was a good book. No, it's something you read and you keep going back to when you stuck. This is a guidebook to help everybody get off their ass like I once got off my ass. But thank you for the question. Back to what we're talking about. Morally white. So I had to we're talking about the CNN, these people play ethnic hopscotch. And I don't know if you noticed this, but white society plays ethnic hopscotch with these racial categories. They use whiteness when it's convenient. They bring in other ethnic minorities as white when it comes down to their overall numbers. But as soon as as a non-Anglo-Saxon Protestant does something, they immediately start to draw the distinctions in the ethnicities between white. Immediately. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to other the shooter that was obviously white. They're saying that he was Arabic. They're calling Syrians Arabic. But do you know that Syrians are registered as white on the census? Basically, anyone from North Africa is considered white on the census. What are you talking about? Egypt, Libya, Tunisia, Morocco, even parts of Ethiopia. Ethiopia is an old school name for Africa. Even parts of Ethiopia, depending on where you're from there, you can be white. Saudi Arabia, white. They do this because white people in America, Anglo-Saxons, have low numbers. Because if we break it down to ethnicity, gotta remember that the largest ethnic group is the British white. The second is the German. The Germans, those are the ones that came in. Your Midwest is basically Chicago, St. Louis, all that shit. That's filled out by Germans. Iowa, Minnesota. Them is Germans. And when it comes to white is one of those things that other ethnic groups that are now considered white were at one time not considered white. For instance, your Italians, your Jewish, your Irish. These people weren't white in the 1800s. Into the early 1900s. They weren't considered white until the 1930s and 40s. Do you know that the Irish weren't considered legally white until 1977? So, whiteness is something that they play a 3-card Molly game with. When it benefits them, you're white. When it doesn't benefit them, you're not white. So I'm like, you know what? Let me go ahead and get to the books here. You know me, I like to get to the books. Because if you pay attention to what they keep saying, white folks, white society, white media is always lying. They some lying motherfuckers. All they do is lie their ass off. So I was like, let me go ahead and pull out this book here, Birth of a White Nation. I took some photos from this book and I'm going to put them up here in a second. But have y'all been noticing that like some of your quote unquote white friends have been trying to other this guy? I had this one white dude on Facebook, this one white comic delete me. He got mad as hell because he kept saying, no, he's not white. He's Arabic. He's not white. And then the next day, the police released their official paperwork, and the official paperwork said white. And that pissed them off. Because it was on paper. So what does the white supremacists do when it's on paper? White? They create bullshit headlines like this. Morally right. These motherfuckers move the ball so goddamn much. Y'all see here. Says it right there on the paperwork. White. So I pulled up this book here, Birth of a White Nation. Y'all should get it. It's not a hard read. By Dr. Jacqueline Badalora. She's a former cop, former psychologist, well, current psychologist. And she goes into talking about the laws and how whiteness was birthed and how whiteness was never a thing at one point and it became a thing through a system of laws and through basically public edict. Historiography. This is directly from the book Birth of a White Nation. This is in the preface. I'm not even the parts of the book that I'm giving you is in the preface and the first 2 pages. You read the rest of this shit yourself because it gets way deeper. I'm just giving you I'm literally on the surface level. I'm only giving you the preface and the first page, maybe two. For deeper information, I encourage you to buy the book. Always be the one to put yourself up on game. This is the historiography of the book. This exploration of the first appearance of white people as a group of humanity referenced in law and reliance upon whites as a significant influence in the organization of United States society. Not only relies upon laws and policies, but also draws heavily upon historical texts addressing the roots of racism. That's what this book is basically drawing on. And it talks about later on, the invention of white people. How literally the term white was an invention. When you invent something, you can name and rename it whatever the hell you want to name and rename it. When you invent the classification. First off, before I even get too deep, because sometimes people get this confusion. Let me address this and I'm going to get back into it before I get too deep. You have people going around saying, like, there's confusion going around saying, well, look, I'm not black. My skin color ain't black. They not white. Or I'm not black. Look, we're talking about these labels in a geopolitical sense. Some people be like, well, people don't understand well, if you don't understand geopolitical, then goddamn listen and I'm explaining it to you. And then pick up a few books and learn it more for yourself. The political position of black versus white, we're in a nation that has the guns. And what's the golden rule? He who has the guns rule. So the context of the nation that we live in hands out racial classifications. Black is not a real thing, but neither is white. As you get deeper into this book, it goes into talking about that. It goes into talking about how whiteness is basically a social construct created out of thin air. But it was created by the motherfuckers who also control the money, the economy, and the resources under the ground. So when I talk about black and white, I'm talking about it in that context. Now, you can label yourself whatever you want to label yourself. But when you go to the people who control the resources that you need to live your day-to-day life, they're classifying you in one of these boxes. And which box they classify you in determines the resources and the neighborhoods you're allowed to live in. So we're talking about it from that point of view. If you don't like it, then get on code and be about the business of destroying white supremacy and replacing it with a system of justice. We can do that, and that's the road that we're on. But we have to speak truthfully about where we are now. Fuck all that fantasy shit. Nah, man, now what it really is, I'm not really black. And the white man, the United States is really a corporation. And what it really is, you can't get money unless you are the certain ethnic group, and you can't. Fuck all that. I ain't got time for all that shit, all right? There's basis and truth and all that, yeah, whatever. But that ain't got damn thing to do with this discussion, okay? This discussion is in the context of the world that we're in. And if you're in, like Neely Fuller says, if you're in a ditch and in a hole, the first step in getting out of that hole is saying, I'm in a hole. You can't be in a ditch and say, I'm not really in this ditch. I'm flying on U.S. Airlines, about to land in Paris. See, or be in that ditch and be like, see, we're not really in this ditch, my brother. Because before we got in this ditch, my brother, we built pyramids. Nigga, we actually had pyramids under the water, my brother, so we're not really in this ditch. What you see here is an illusion. What you see here is what the white man making you think you in. You dig? Because back in the day, we used to be able to fly. And in the future, we gonna build cities run on Bitcoin, and every billboard is gonna have a pair of double D titties for every man to see. You dig? That's what it's gonna be in Niggerville in the future. All right, that's all cool, my brother, but we in this ditch right now. How we get up out of it? No, my brother, we not in this ditch. This ditch is in your mind. It's not. See, look, the white man made you think it's a ditch because this ditch ain't supreme over you. This ditch is just mud and water and dirt. That's all it is. Nigga, do you know you have melanin, brother? This ditch is not supreme over you, my brother, because you got melanin, you dig? You better tell the fucking truth about where you are. And then once you tell the truth about where you are, you can be about the solutions on getting yourself out of where you are. My weave-wearing neighbor keeps turning her music up, but thank y'all. And thank this microphone. Thank you, microphone, for not picking up all that bullshit ass sound. So in this book, Birth of a White Nation, let's get back to it. She goes in and she's talking about somebody hit the thumbs down button. That must be one of them. I think I'm in Wakanda niggas. But hit the like. We got 240 people in here, 127 likes. Double those likes, please, and share this shit. We preaching here. In this book, it's talking about. Oh shit! I took that off screen. That's not what I meant to do. Here it is. Back to the book. She talks about in her preface, in many ways, this book is a result of the pursuit of, basically why white people click white and what Caucasian really is and what white really is. White is a social construct that was invented. Chapter 1 of this book is white people. Basically, she's going in talking about how white was created. And when you go deeper in this book, she goes into talking about whiteness basically being a set of ideals, a set of principles of unwritten law that a person assumes, an unwritten law that includes advantages that are given to you based on this racial classification. That's why you'll see Hispanics come over here and label themselves white. That's why you'll see all these other groups, like they talk about all this black-brown coalition and all that shit. But I guarantee to you, 9 out of 10 of your Hispanic friends, 95 out of 100, they don't label themselves indigenous. They label themselves white. Because white comes with a set of privileges. The privilege of when you do things wrong, that whiteness is othered. See, Steve Jobs, Jerry Seinfeld, they're white. They're from the same country as this dude. But you never hear Steve Jobs or Jerry Seinfeld be labeled factually Arabic, but morally white. What they're saying is, we've been pushing this too far. So morally, CNN is saying morally, we have to label him white. He's actually Arabic, but morally, we're going to label him white because that's kind of what we got to do. But they want to make sure that he's factually Arabic. Well, what's an Arab? An Arab is a child of the first people out of the Caucasus Mountains. Do you know that when white folks Caucasians first started leaving the Caucasus Mountain, do you know what direction they went? South. They went into what's now considered the Middle East. Let's go ahead and pull this up on a map. Let's pull this up on a map. Y'all know me. I love fucking with the maps. Y'all know me. I'm like a fucking... Let me see here. Browser share. I'm like a damn map nerd. When I was a kid, I used to just study. We used to go on road trips with my dad, my parents. Starting like from the age of 10, they would always give me the AAA maps to map out our route to Texas. Here's the Caucasus Mountains, where white people were evolved into, created. Here are the Caucasus Mountains. When they first started to migrate out of this mountain range, they went south. Here, into what's now known as Armenia, Turkey. At the time, this was ancient Mesopotamia. Well, this is actually a little before ancient Mesopotamia. A little before ancient Mesopotamia became as big as it got. They came down out of these mountains into what's now Syria, Lebanon, Iraq, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Afghanistan, Iran, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan. This is the area that they populated first before they went over into Europe. And as Dr. John Henry Clarke so eloquently said, when asked in a speech that he gave, someone asked Dr. John Henry Clarke, "What's an Arab?" And this is no disrespect. This is just something that Dr. John Henry Clarke said, not me. I have respect for my Arabian brothers and sisters. But he said, an Arab is a bastard child of a bastard child. I'll never forget that. Well, anyway, when they first came out, they mixed in with these groups of people. And at a certain point in time in history, they were pushed back into these Caucasus Mountains because they were some fucking savages. They were so brutal that as they started to expand over here into what's now Russia, the ancient Chinese, the people that was in China, built this big ass wall called the Great Wall of China to keep these motherfuckers out. So, your original Caucasians live in this space long before they went into Europe. They went and got locked into Europe as a consequence for their savagery. They came out, they were in the Visigoths, the Franks, the Vandals, the Huns, the barbarians. And when the Holy Roman Empire was a big thing, unlike what they tell you, they were not the main ones running shit. The Romans were olive-skinned people. They were like lighter-skinned. They were like light-skinned, curly-head motherfuckers. Just like the Greeks. The Greeks too. They weren't the Caucasoid that you see now. Now those people were around the empires, but they weren't the ones running shit. Most of those Italian and Greeks, most of those Italian statues that you see of those Roman statues, those Roman gods, most of that shit was built in like the early 1900s, late 1800s. Most of this shit that we see now with all these statues of all these Roman generals and shit, most of that shit was built about 100 years ago. The Roman Empire used to actually pay the Visigoths and the Vandals to stay on the outside because they would come in just wrecking shit. So the head of the Roman government would actually pay them. Y'all talk about universal basic income. Ain't none of that shit new. They were giving the Visigoths, the Franks, the Huns, all these motherfuckers that was outside of Europe. I mean, outside of in the Roman Empire, but they were the Vandals. That's what the term vandalism. Think about it. The term vandalism comes from a tribe called the Vandals. The Vandals were synonymous with coming in and just wrecking shit. They would just come in and steal shit, take shit. So they were labeled the Vandals. So the term stealing shit, wrecking shit, and taking shit turned into what's now known as vandalism. People now classified as white were once known as the Vandals. And the ancient Rome paid these motherfuckers just to stay the fuck outside of Rome. It wasn't until they realized that Rome was weak, that the Vandals and the Visigoths said, oh, these motherfuckers ain't got no money. And then they came in and sacked the Roman Empire and ended the Roman Empire. This is their history. This is why they don't talk to y'all about this shit. That's why they always want to tell you that the ancient Africans were white. Because they're ashamed of their own shit. So when the Moors in 711 came and conquered Spain, basically what that was the Africans and the Arabs getting together to lock Europeans and push them, not Europeans, Caucasians, was to push them here into this area we see right here. Russia, Estonia, Finland. We were like, these motherfuckers, the rest of the world said, look, these motherfuckers are savages. So they cut off all trade routes and made Caucasians stay in this area now known as Europe. Which ties into why I said earlier, why is it that the Irish, why is it that they weren't relabeled white until 1977? It's because they had so much black blood in them. That's why. The Irish in Ireland, well, all of Europe, but the original Celtics, the term Celtic, like Boston Celtics, they called the Celtics. But the Celtics were the people we see now as the Celtics, with the skirts and the windbags and windpipes and all that stuff. These are people that assumed the identity of the people that they killed off, the black Celtics, the original inhabitants of Ireland. Same with the Tuatha and Bute. Y'all call them the Pygmies. Those were your original leprechauns. The Tuatha and Bute of Ireland. They're your leprechauns. Why do you think the Celtics have bagpipes? Name one instrument think about this. If white people never invented a form of music, do you think they've ever invented an instrument? It stands to reason, doesn't it? If you don't have an original form of music that we can say you created, then it stands to reason that you didn't create any instruments, especially back then. So who did you get the bagpipes from? Did you know that the organ predates the piano down in Spain? The organ predates the piano. Did you know that? Do you know what a piano is? A piano is a harp. Because when the Moors were up in Spain teaching music to them, see, white folks was hella small back then. These motherfuckers, go look at one of them old those knights outfits. Those like the armor, the knight armor. You'll see them little shits was like 5'2", no more than 120 pounds, 100 pounds. They were some little motherfuckers back then before they started getting that good nourishment. So they were too small to play the harp. So what they did was they turned the harp on its side, encased it in a box, and took the keyboard from the organ and put it on that. Therein lies the piano. Hotep is history, DwannB. Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that before I read Ivan Van Sertima's book on the Moors' influence in Spain. Hard book to find now because it's out of print. But yeah, the piano is a harp that was turned on its side, encased in a box, and given the keys from the organ. So the smaller European could then play the harp. Because he was too small to strum a harp. So the piano allowed him to string the harp, play all the notes on the harp. So like and share, yeah, like this shit. So we're talking about the ethnic hopscotch that Caucasians play with this label known as white. Tell the truth. So when it came to when it came to your wars in Europe, Europe was basically between the Moorish Empire when they came and 1492. They were at war with one another. The Huns, the Anglos, the Saxons, and when it came to who won the wars of Europe, it was the Anglos and the Saxons at the end of the day, because those are the people that then dominated what's now called the United Kingdom. But if you look at the Queen of England's real name, you'll realize that she's really German. There's a brotherhood and a kinship between England and Germany that goes unspoken. Had me thinking, because I was in last night. If y'all follow me on Instagram, I was up in the Palisades last night, where they had a Nazi encampment during World War II. We're gonna go into all this history, then we're gonna take this shit right back to where we started. All right, follow me, like, share, and subscribe. And in the description box, I'm gonna have my Eventbrite link for my class, my self-motivation guide class. I want y'all to sign up for that. Only $29.99, and you get the book and course materials to come along with that. And you'll be able to ask questions, and we'll have a work group after the session to help each other meet our goals. Sign up for that. This is Murphy's Ranch here in Los Angeles, California, in the Pacific Palisades. You see Murphy's Ranch right here is the beach. Murphy's Ranch is a 3-mile drive. It's 3 miles from here to the end of Sunset Boulevard. The J. Paul Getty Museum, you see where it is in proximity. You see here Holmby Hills. Those are the richest houses in the West Coast in the world. Benedict Canyon, and then Laurel Canyon. You see Laurel Canyon over here is where the whole hippie murders and the whole Laurel Canyon thing is a whole nother thing that I got to get into. That's a different story than Murphy's Ranch. But you see Murphy's Ranch proximity to Laurel Canyon. This area is Santa Monica, Venice, Metropolitan West LA, the black folks down here, and Hollywood over here. Follow me? Well, anyway, Murphy's Ranch was a place that was open during World War II. While the United States was at war, while the world was at war, so-called against not the Nazis had a camp right here in Los Angeles, California, that was open and active. They say the land is abandoned, but if you go hiking up there, somebody will meet you. My question is, what are they protecting? This is the United States during World War II. Why am I bringing this up? You'll also realize during the United States, during World War II, Henry Ford, and I got this from an Oliver Stone documentary on World War II. Henry Ford actually called Hitler and the Germans and told them to stop bombing so close to his Jeep factory. Because Henry Ford controlled the manufacturing of Germany's Jeeps. Do you know the reason why Queen, and you'll find this in that show again. This is a speculation. These things happen. If you watch that show, The Crown will give you some good information, some really good history to where they'll show you what happened in The Crown, but then you got to go back into the libraries to find the books. And the books will verify what's said. You ain't going to necessarily get the truth on a Google search for some of this stuff. A lot of this stuff you have to actually go to the books. But do you know the reason why Queen Elizabeth is the queen? The Queen Elizabeth is the queen because her father was never in line to be king. What happened was her uncle during World War II was giving secrets to the Nazis. And he set up a deal. I'm going to say allegedly for legal purposes, but watch The Crown. And then you go do your own research. I'll say it like that. He was giving secrets to Hitler about places where to bomb in England because they thought that Germany was going to win the war. And then once Hitler won, Hitler was going to reinstall him as King of England. So he abdicated the throne to Queen Elizabeth's father, who lived his whole life not ready to be king. Being king is a very stressful job that he didn't want. So he didn't hold the job for too long. And his daughter, the queen, quote unquote, took his place. That's why that old liver spot's been in the throne so long. She got it very young. She wasn't in line to become queen. That's what happened. Do you know the whole Windsor family is German? I won't tell you here. I'll just show you right here. On June 19, 1917, the king decreed that the royal surname was thereby changed from Saxon, Coburg Gotha to Windsor. Anglo-Saxon. The Saxons were the Germanic people. So it makes sense as to why he was cool with your boy, Adolf. Which that wasn't his real name either, because Adolf Hitler isn't German. He's actually... Well, that's another story. I'm going a little deep here. There's a brotherhood between the British and the Germans. And the United States didn't give a fuck about what was going on in Germany until the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. Yes, New Ways. So everything is basically BS? Yes, most things are BS. And remember, I'm going to have Brother Kaba on here, Kaba Kamene, this coming Wednesday. I'm going to have Brother Kaba Kamane from the Hidden Color series on this coming Wednesday. And I'm going to see if we can get on into this and have your questions ready. Because there's a quote that Brother Kamane says, when you tell the perfect lie, the truth becomes unbelievable. That's not my quote. That's Brother Kaba Kamane. He'll be here Wednesday on Hotepish, Intelligent Ish Talk, Intelligent Shit Talk. When you tell the perfect lie, the truth is almost unbelievable. So yeah, this whole America against Hitler and Hitler was this and the Nazis were that. Nigga, that's all revisionist history. Russia is responsible for 90% of the wins in World War II. The United States, Russia suffered 90% of the losses. The United States came in towards the end of the war, provided some help, and yes, it's true, Germany probably would have won the war had the United States not jumped in. But please believe, if it was just Germany versus the United States, Germany would have beat the dog shit out of the United States because they had the superior technology. Which is why after World War II, the reason why Russia and the Cold War started between America and Russia was because after World War II, there was the Marshall Plan. And what the Marshall Plan did was it decided where the money went to rebuild these countries after the war. France got its money to rebuild. England got its money. There's a $50 billion plan. And yes, families fund wars. The Marshall Plan, that's basically a check written by a couple families. Families fund nations. You think I'm lying? Look it up. I ain't gonna get in. That's a different subject to go deep into. But the Marshall Plan gave money to France, West Germany, not East Germany, France, West Germany, England, England, the United States, Italy. But Russia, who suffered 90% of the losses, got the least amount of the money. And it was the United States behind that sucker move, allegedly, that reallocated the funds. Japan, they got a lot of that Marshall Plan money. Russia didn't. Then starts the Cold War. How do we win the war, but y'all get the money? Now Russia don't sound so crazy for its hatred of the United States. For those listening, I'm not a communist. Don't fucking label me that. Russia's racist too, so fuck them. I don't have any sympathy for Russia. Because Russia racist than a motherfucker. They wiped out the black people in Russia in the late 1800s. Before Germany was wiping out black people, Russia was wiping out black people. Hell, the reason Russia speaks Russian and not German is because of a black man, a black poet named Alexander Pushkin. Russia spoke German back in the 1800s. They started speaking Russian en masse because the most popular poet in Russia was a black man named Alexander Pushkin. And in spite of all that, they still killed off all the black people. So fuck Russia. I don't have any sympathy for them not getting a dime during the Marshall Plan. Nah, 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 nah. Nah, 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 nah. Fuck you. I'm just talking history here. So, Russia didn't get its money, and that's what led to the Cold War. That's what led to the Cold War. So what the United States did was it made a move that Russia missed out on. The United States took all of those German scientists, doctors, engineers, businessmen. They say they rescued Jews, and they did rescue the Jews, you know. I don't believe any group should have a Holocaust against them like that. You know, I'm not here to spread hate. We could talk black empowerment without shitting on other people. Because our shit's so goddamn dope. If black people really understood who we are, we don't have any need to shit on anybody else or take advantage of anybody else. Because we that goddamn dope. We can tell history and talk history from a non-emotional, objective point of view. And that's what I'm doing here on Hotepish Intelligent Ish Talk. Thank y'all for joining me. We got 300 people in here, 212 likes. Like and share this shit, please. So, back to what we're talking about here. Where was I at? Oh, yeah, I was talking about World War II. So, when they brought all of those German and Nazi scientists, when the ones that came to California came to either Orange County. Orange County is where they came, is where they went to the most of them. Laguna Beach. Let me pull up my map. When they came to California, they came down here to Orange County in Mass. Laguna Beach. This is where Kobe lived. Matter of fact, if y'all look it up, there was like some kind of a car accident the week before Kobe died. And Kobe kind of helped the people that got in that bad car wreck. He saw Kobe like directing traffic to help these people who had just gotten in a bad car accident down there in Laguna Beach. That happened right here. Where this shopping center is on this corner right here. Well, I digress. Well, Newport Beach and Laguna Beach became the primary place where the Nazis came. To show you how racist Orange County is, Irvine, the city of Irvine, was California's last planned community. And this was a white-only city literally until 1981, right here, Irvine. This was a white-only city until the year I was born, 1981. This was a whites-only city until until 1981. And what they did, let me get my map back up. I lost my map. There we go. I don't want that up. There we go. Back to the map. You had all these white folks that were here. And then they also came here to Palisades. Basically, Pacific Palisades, Topanga State Park was all filled in by Nazis. And then the rest either came here to Santa Barbara or what's now known as Silicon Valley. That's where the overwhelming majority of your Nazis went to. The United States can thank the Nazis for the freeway system, something that they got directly from Germany, and the jet engine, amongst other things, Audi, Volvo, Hugo Boss. There's always been a partnership between the United States and Germany. a bit of information that I wanted to put in as I dig deeper into them playing ethnic hopscotch with this man right here. So they trying to say that he's morally white. All right. Well, after the ending of the Moorish Empire, when the Moors were taken over in 1492 by the Visigoths and the Vandals, when they kicked the Moors out, part of the reason why that was possible was because the Arab side of the Moors' conquest of Southern Europe turned its back on the African side of the Moorish Spain. And they partnered with the new people in power. So from the end of the Moorish Empire till about World War I, the Ottoman Empire is what ran basically the Mediterranean Sea. And when we had our war, okay, man, my shit, I don't know why the fuck I get tongue tied when I say World War. So when we had World War I, basically what that was an ending, was Europe getting together to end the influence of the Ottoman Empire. An empire that they sort of partnered with to put the Africans and the black folks under their feet. Let me give you another map example. When you look at World War I, it was a fight in Europe about who's going to control these countries. The former Ottoman Empire. Who's going to control the wealth and the resources under what's now Libya, Egypt, Syria, and all those nations. So when the United States and the world Western powers settled their little differences and decided who was going to control these nations, the people from these nations, when allowed back into the United States, were all able to be classified as white. What we have here, this thug, this criminal, this bastard, is a child of the Ottoman Empire. A landmass that the United States and the sides that won the war now control the resources of. So they ship these people in for their numbers. And because in Syria, they actually still teach their children. And when it's politically convenient, they're white. But when they do what white folks do, now they're other. So the whole moral lesson, the whole lesson of this broadcast, of this show, is racial classifications. Yes, they're a figment of our imagination. No, they're not real. They're not rooted in anything of substance. But they're what's used by the society who writes the rules of society. So we're going to see more and more of this as we move forward. I don't know if y'all saw in Compton last week. It was a sister that was shot, but she was mixed with like her dad was. They said Cambodian, so she kind of had the Asian slant to her eyes, but she was definitely black. Shot and killed in Compton, unfortunately. Channel 9 News, KCOW News came out and was like, yeah, she's the KCOW News was like, yeah, she's there was a shooting and it's a possible hate crime for an Asian getting shot. I mean, like, hold on. Since when has a black person in Compton been labeled an Asian? You know how many Blasians are running around the hood? Mama fucked with somebody from Southeast Asia because she wanted a baby with good hair. We're relabeling them Asian now. But I guarantee you, she couldn't put Asian on the job application and walk down to an Asian bank and get a job. Here's a test on whether or not you're Asian. Walk into an Asian bank and apply for a job. See if you get it. Let the Asians tell you. So this is something that we starting to see now. They're about to start with this ethnic hopscotch on for real, on us. And the whole point, as Neely Fuller says, is confusion. Confusion. You keep the people confused because as long as they're confused, you'll have the political advantage over them. Confusion is how the system of white supremacy works. So for the people that have questions on why is it why is it black people? Why can't I just be mixed? Why can't I be this? Why can't I be that? Look, you can be whatever you want to be. Be that. But when it comes to these racial classifications, when it comes to this stuff, that right there, that's all subjective based on the system that you're in. But politically, I go by the term black. I understand why people don't want to use it. You're not really black. No, I'm not black. And neither in white supremacy, no white person is supreme over me. Yeah, I get it. They're not. But I understand I live in a system to where if I go to court for something, and it's my word against a white person's word, I understand that in this system, that white person's word is going to reign supreme over my word. I know that when I go out into society, how I'm perceived by the people who have the guns is going to be dictated on the color of my skin. So geopolitically, that's what I am. And no, I don't need to change my classifications to get reparations. No, because all this shit's fake. They're handing out laws specifically to Asians. They're not saying, okay, these laws are for Cambodians, that law is for Chinese, this law is for Japanese, that law is for Vietnamese, this law is for Indians. They're not breaking it down. They're just saying all of Asia. They can give benefits, reparations, and decide where the money goes politically based on the current classifications. They do it all the time. Why do the rules always have to change when it gets to black? If they found ways to codify things to work against people classified as black, we can find ways to codify things to work for people classified as black. Oh yeah, Tasha, you do. I forgot you do. Your children. I forgot your children. Yes. Your children are not confused either. Yeah. So we got to understand this is the situation that we're in. And we all go around talking about what we need to do and what we need to be. Unless you got a gun and money to back what you're saying we need to be, you can't do shit about it. Unless you have a whole military and a whole economy backing you, you can talk about what we need to be all you want. But you ain't got that. So no matter what you say you are, your classification within the context of this society is black. I believe in minimizing confusion, minimizing fights and problems. Okay, if that's the classification I'm in, let's go ahead with that. If they've used that determination to take away resources, I'm going to use that determination to get them resources back. Because the minute you start playing all these other games about, well, technically I'm this and technically I'm that, then these motherfuckers will go ahead and create a whole new goddamn thing, and you'll be back to fighting for another 20 years over a label while the benefits are getting passed out left and right. I'm not about getting to no label fights with you niggas. Somebody just hit the thumbs down. Get out. I'm not going to get into any label fights. You can consider yourself whatever you want to consider yourself, and I'm not going to argue with you. But when your ass is arrested, if your ass is arrested, like this guy here, like Tiger Woods. Remember Tiger Woods? That shit said black. He called himself Malaysian or whatever the fuck he did. But when his ass was on that toxicology report, that arrest record, that shit said black like a motherfucker. That's the society we're in. Blackness isn't really a thing, neither is whiteness. Whiteness ain't shit. If you read Dr. Battlelore's book, Birth of a White Nation, it'll tell you whiteness isn't even based on anything affirmative. The definition of white basically means not black. That's basically the definition of white, not black. They don't have a positive affirmation of themselves. They don't see themselves in a positive light. They don't say whiteness is these 5 or 10 great things. Whiteness is basically, so you're not a nigger? Oh, then you white. And whiteness is something that they keep relabeling and redoing over and over and over again, and to keep up with their bullshit. Because they know they full of shit. They know they're under no illusions that they're full of shit. I promise you. They're under no illusions. They know they're full of shit. That's why they got to put up shit like this. Factually Arabic, but morally white. That's when you've basically conceded that you're full of shit. That's how you know they're full of shit. So understand this, people. Because people say, if I accept black, that means I got to accept being a slave and this and that. No, you don't. You can understand your geopolitical term and still know who you are. That's why I always say it comes back to knowledge of self. Know who you are. Man, know thyself was on the walls of every temple in the Nile Valley. Man, know thyself. Why did the Nile Valley temples, the places where they went to go worship God, why didn't they say, learn God? Why didn't they say, find out who Jesus is? No, they didn't say that. They didn't point to any historical figure or person. the temples in the Nile Valley, which all religions come from, especially your three Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. They all come from those shared same texts in the Nile Valley. Well, the Nile Valley said, man, know thyself. Know yourself. Know yourself. Because when you know yourself, you won't accept whatever negative labels are thrown on you. When you know yourself, you'll know whatever label, whatever someone tries to say, okay, I'm black. Oh, I know myself and I know my history. Okay, I know what black is. Because for me, when I hear black American, you black? Okay. I hear George Washington Carver. I hear Robert Smalls. I hear Benjamin Banneker. I hear Nat King Cole. I hear I'm Fannie Lou Hamer. I'm Ida B. Wells. I'm Frederick Douglass. I'm Miles Davis. I'm Noble Drew Ali. Oh, I'm black? Okay. You're calling me the people. I'm the moral authority on this nation. Anything moral, anything good out of this nation came out of something black. Okay. Oh, you calling me black? Okay, so you mean you calling me? Okay, you calling me the person that designed the city of Philadelphia and Washington D.C. Oh, I'm black. Oh, okay, I'm the people that invented the air conditioner and the refrigerator and the assembly line and the power plant. I'm black. I'll take that. But when your definition of black is their definition of what black is, you don't want that. Because when I see white, I see Visigoth, Vandal. I see a group of people who have no real religion of their own. They have no system of governance that they created from their grassroots. I see a group of people who just basically see what black people are doing, take the best of it, claim it as theirs, and then go about the business of killing folks. That's what I see when I see white. Look, I got the power to label. You know, you got the power to label other people too, right? You know that, right? You know that, right? You know you also have the power to label, right? And no, my label may not have, because I don't have a military and a full economy backing what I say, I may not have the power to have what your label changed in the books. But I do have the power to frame how I see you and help my people frame how they see you. We do have that power. The problem, the biggest error that we have as black folks is errors in perception. Words are just symbols that you have the power to assign the power of that symbol to. Okay, politically I'm black. Fine. All right, cool. That means you calling me basically the physical and mental engine that created the wealth of this nation and the moral authority of this nation. White supremacy, yeah, it's a system that gives people considered white a supreme chance in court and first dibs at the fruit of the society. I get that. It don't mean you better than me. Matter of fact, the reason why you have a whole system that gives you first pickings at everything is because you can't fuck with me when things are equal. I take pride in that. So you had to create this whole little rat ass system. Because you consider me 3/5 of a human being? See, I don't get offended when they say, oh, you're 3/5 of a human being. I'm thinking, all right, Well, if you had to create a whole system that gives your people the advantages over someone you consider 3/5 of a human, that my question is, how do you view yourself? If you got to go through all that to put someone considered 3/5 of a human under your foot, how lowly, how miserable, how horrible, how ratchet do you see yourself? That's how we gotta look at this, black folks. Don't accept their way of seeing it. See through it. Listen to them talk. Just listen to them. They gotta cheat. What's up, 3J in the chat room? What's up, Brady Gibson? What y'all talking about here in the chat room? I ain't been really looking because I be getting my mind thrown off when I look in the chat. Yeah, so another thing I love Dr. John Henry Clark, but I don't call myself African American. Have you ever met an African Jamaican? Or the African Haitians? The African Brazilians? If you listen to the Europeans' word, the majority of slaves that left Africa went to Brazil and the Caribbean. Less than 400,000 came to the United States. The earth is from Africa. But until you show me an African Martinican, an African Barbados. No, they're considered from Barbados. They're considered Belizean. They don't call them African Belizeans. They're just Belizeans. When I go back to the 1828 Webster Dictionary of the term American, it was copper-colored individuals found on this landmass at the time of the Europeans' arrival. You think I'm bullshitting? Google it right now. A Webster's Dictionary 1828 definition of an American. So if copper-colored individuals were here when the European arrived, according to the European, and those copper-colored individuals that are still here now, why are they considered African American when they were here before the European came? Yes, they were in Africa at some point, but the European don't know when that was because they wasn't here to fucking tell you, nigga. It's a lot of African Americans here, but they from Nigeria, they from Ghana, they from Senegal, they from South Africa, they're from Eritrea, they're from Ethiopia, Tanzania, Ghana, Cameroon, Libya, Morocco. Those are your African Americans. The people who come from African countries that are in existence today. Whatever African countries or nation states that the black Americans came from no longer exists. There's only one country in Africa that still has its leadership from before colonial times, and that's Swaziland. And I ain't seen nobody from Swaziland reaching out to me here, so I doubt I come from there. But if you want to call yourself that, I don't get into what the argue. I don't argue. I just talk about the shit from a geopolitical point of view, and that's it. Take from it what you may. Take from it what you may. So, please, yes, donate to the Cash App. Donate to the Cash App. I ain't. Usually y'all be hitting the brother up, but hey, no. Matter of fact, you ain't gotta donate to the Cash App. Sign up for my course. Sign up for my course. My 1-day webinar. No time to waste. Here it is. I gotta finish setting it up. I have a very, very, very limited, space because I want to be able to answer people's questions, everyone's questions. Sunday, May 2nd, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Limited capacity. It's about my book, No Time to Waste, self-motivation workshop. You enroll in the course, you get the book, along with additional course materials, questionnaires, and guidance to help you motivate yourself. I'm not a false prophet. I'm someone who uses my shit that worked for me. I only talk about the things in life that I understand very well and that have worked for me. And I push it out and help people with that. So this here is all things that, tips and tricks that I've come up with over the years. And let me see here. Let me see if I can. Y'all see it right here. If y'all get it, the book comes along with it. I'm going to put the link in the description box of this show when we leave. So y'all can, those of you watching the replay will be able to see the link in the description bar. What y'all talking about in the chat room? Because I'm about to get on out of here in a second, but I want to answer some questions. Any of y'all got any goddamn questions in the chat room? Any questions in the chat room? Let's see here. What's up, Von Crenshaw checking in from Jersey? Who's in here talking? I see somebody just running their mouth. If y'all see, if it's somebody in there trolling, kick their ass out. Like I said, I'm not really paying attention to what's going on in the chat room. Someone saying the picture's fake. Yeah. Still keeping it up there as a teaching tool. What else y'all talking about in here? Because one thing about the system of white supremacy, even if it is fake, it's nothing that they... It's just how they act. These motherfuckers will change the name and the definition of something whenever they want to. That shit's real. What else y'all talking about? Biden brought anti-gun laws. Who's he talking about? The Democrats always bring anti-gun laws. Ain't nothing new. What are you talking about? When it comes to American politics, man, don't get caught up in that shit, man. When it comes to American politics, the Republicans and the Republicans and Democrats do what the fuck they do to X us out. It's them against everyone else. It's the government's job to be the shield for the wealthy elite. Like I said when I started this shit, it's families that run that start these wars. The government just is a front for these very few rich people to control the wealth and resources of the land. Well, if General was a troll, then kick him out. I ain't been paying attention to what y'all talking about. If General was trolling, kick him out. Poot said, DeWan slow putting up a fake article. Name the article that I put up, you dumbass. If you notice, since Poot Smells wants to be seen, you fucking idiot, I put up a book. That I put up a picture of CNN. That's a picture. This whole broadcast has been on this book. You fucking idiot. We use things that happen in the news and the media as a canvas to talk about what's real. I swear I can't stand you smart, dumb motherfuckers. Let's see here. What else y'all talking about here in the chat room? Somebody said he's not a troll. Somebody saying that dude's from Pakistan? Oh, we got somebody from Pakistan in here talking shit? Pakistan, nigga, the United States put a no-fly zone over your own fucking country. Y'all listen to a guy. The United States once had a no-fly zone over Pakistan. Y'all can't tell Black Americans shit. When you had a country that's on the other side of the planet telling you couldn't fly over your own goddamn country. Sit your ass all the way down. Remember, black people, you ain't got to accept other people's definitions. Learn other cultures and define them. Learn other countries and learn other cultures. Learn your own culture first. First of all, learn your own. Somebody keeps asking me what race was the Ottomans. The term race wasn't a thing when the Ottoman Empire came into being. I can't answer that question, what race was the Ottoman Empire. There was no such thing as race when the Ottoman Empire got to its power. There were ethnicities, there were nation states. The Ottoman Empire were a group is an ethnicity that was colonized under the religion of Islam. That's what the race of the Ottoman. The Ottoman Empire was a people of Arab ethnicity conquering other lands in the name of Islam. That was the Ottoman Empire. There was no such thing as race when the Ottoman Empire built its empire. What else y'all talking about here in the chat room? What else y'all talking about in the chat room? Let me get, since y'all, let me get the fuck over here. What else y'all talking about? Because I'm about to get out of here if y'all ain't talking about nothing real. There we go. Well, since let me see, what else y'all talking about? 'Cause I'm about to get up out of here. There we go. All right, yeah, that's about it. Oh, I'm glad. He said, grown man bars asked if I talked about Tamika Mallory yet. Oh, I'm glad you brought that up because I kind of wanted to make that whole thing part of this discussion, but I spent way more time on this topic than I thought I was. So I'm gonna have to come back to y'all and really get in on the whole Tamika Mallory situation. But I will say this. For those who haven't seen, I do support Tamir Rice's mother. I support Tamir Rice's mother 100%. She came out and said basically they are using her son and other victims of police brutality and they're clout chasing. And I talked about that before because Tamika Mallory she's now being sponsored by Cadillac. And let me tell you something. When you're brand ambassador of a Fortune 500 company, that comes with clauses on what you can and cannot say as ambassador of that company. I heard some people saying, well, can't she just drive a Cadillac? Yeah, she can drive whatever the fuck she want to drive. But movements are silenced through sponsorships. That's why your favorite athlete can't ever say anything of substance. Including LeBron James. People be like, man, at least LeBron ain't saying nothing that's changing the status quo. I guarantee goddamn to you, whatever he says gets cleared by his publicist at Nike first. That's why LeBron James didn't come out and say nothing about Tamir Rice until a few days later. Sometimes it takes these publicists a little while to get the right things to say together. They may say some things like, oh, Trump is bad, or we need to stop the hate, Black Lives Matter. These are all rhetorical statements that don't mean anything. They're allowed to say that, but nothing of substance. Nothing of substance. Imagine Malcolm X selling Oldsmobiles. Do you think that would have been as effective if Malcolm X had commercials talking about something? As I pull up to my meeting in my stylish Oldsmobile, wingtips on my feet, Armani suit on my back. I liberate the people. No. Go back to the old Dave Chappelle show. If Nike sponsored the movement and put shoes on King's feet, we would have been talking about something totally different. Rice's mom. I side with the mom. She literally said last week Tamika Mallory's clout chasing. Willie D put up a video that he then took down, basically questioning Tamika, questioning her. Tamir Rice's mom. And a week after she comes out and says that, Tamika Mallory has a sponsorship from Cadillac. She literally has a sponsorship from Cadillac. I'm not going to go too deep into this because I wanted to give this topic its own subject. I'm not going to come to you tonight because as soon as I get off this, I'm going to go ride my bike. It's a warm day in LA. I'm going to go ride my bike. And then when I get off my bike, I'm taking these mushrooms and I'm going to go up to watch the sunset on them shrooms. But I had hope for Tamika Mallory because she fine as hell. And she was saying some dope shit. But it looks like she's been bought out by all of our grandfathers and uncles' favorite cars. The movement ain't about money. People are like, well, can't she get money? That's why. Where did she get to me? Malcolm X and Martin Luther King died broke. Saving your people don't come with money. That's why I got a whole nother goddamn company. That's why I crack jokes and tell as a comedian. That's why I have other things that I do for money. I already know Hotepish isn't a show that major sponsors are going to want to pick up. And if a major sponsor did, if Hotepish was bought out by Cadillac, then Hotepish ain't gonna be shit no more. Cause Cadillac ain't gonna let DeWan do the fuck I do the way I do it. I'll end up bland like the Breakfast Club is right now. Remember when the Breakfast Club was dope like back in 2015? That ain't shit. Cause it's fake. Now my show Incense and Ashtrays, y'all might see some sponsors. You might see some pretty big sponsorships on Incense and Ashtrays. But that's a music show. That's why I created a different music show. I like getting paid too. Shit, DwannBrown loves money. Don't trip. But I found other ways to make money. And if my black people support me by donating to my Cash App and doing things, I'll take everything, every dime y'all got. If y'all got to give it to me, look, I believe in receiving. Donate to the Cash App. I do not mind taking some money. But whatever money I take regarding Hotep-ish, intelligent-ish talk, comes directly from the people. Or if I have a local sponsor of a small business who don't mind what I say, I'll take that sponsorship. But the liberation of the black nation is not going to be funded by Pepsi and Coke. It's not going to be funded by Cadillac. It's not going to be brought to you by dishwashing soap. The liberation comes for us. The liberation for us comes through us and is funded from us. And I'll make my money doing other shit. I get on stage and crack jokes and make money. I get on stage as a public speaker because I also make that bread for helping out with my relationship coaching and my IEP advocacy. I'll make money doing that. But yeah, I'm gonna do a whole nother broadcast on Tamika Mallory and the whole bought out Black Lives Matter movement. But tomorrow, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I have a hypnotist coming on. For those of you who want to know more about hypnotherapy, how it works, and to maybe possibly schedule a consultation with her, I have a world-renowned hypnotherapist coming on tomorrow. Please tune in, because I know lately my viewership don't be as high when I have guests. Tune in. Because my guests bring information more detailed than I can bring it. That's why I like having all these different people to come on. I have my guest from a couple weeks ago, King Simon. Tune into that on numerology. Tune in tomorrow for more on hypnotherapy. Then on Wednesday, I'll have Brother Kaba Kamene from the Hidden Color series, formerly Booker T. Coleman. Brother Kaba Kamene, Hiawatha. He'll be here on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So for you East Coast motherfuckers, drink some coffee and stay up. 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Wednesday, Brother Kaba Kamene from the Hidden Color series. Tomorrow, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, World Renowned Hypnotherapist bringing you that information. And remember, please, I put the link. I already put it in my description box. I put the link in my description. Sign up for my No Time to Waste self-motivation workshop. You get my book for free. It's a short e-reader. Something that I'm going to want you to pick up until you actually meet your goals. The whole point is to meet your goals. What are your goals? You got to find that out. That's on you. But I'm going to help you, because as somebody who's worked in mental health for over 20 years, part of what I would do for people's mental health, whether it be children or adults, would be I would help them find their goal. Because through finding your passion, that solves the other issues. What do I want to do? Where do I go? How do I do it? Once you find whatever your passion is, the other questions will answer themselves. Remember that. Remember that. Anyway, my name is Dwan B. Remember this: there are no perfect messengers. Only perfect messages. For those who are willing to pick up the game. My name is Dwan B. We out.